today?
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, and shout out to Sir Hell.
Sir
So
Hell.
I want to say this.
Yes, sir.
Women shooting for the CEO, shooting for Prince Charming. Actually, we're wrong to say she can't shoot for that, right? Just like a male who's born in poverty but wants to be a CEO, right? We got to understand that. Like, men's desire for business and being an entrepreneur, growing a business, international business, whatever, is the same thing as a woman who wants to marry Prince Charming, right? And we can't say she's wrong to have that, because that's not fair, because that is the equivalent of a rag to riches story for a male. Totally acceptable, totally fine to do that if she can get it. And it's her right to pursue that, right? It's in the Constitution, the right to pursue your happiness. So I guess the issue comes when you're no longer qualified for that, and then complain and then say all black men ain't ish because of that. But I don't see a problem with black women or any woman shooting for what the best she can get. Right now, if she can get it, get it. If she can't, then you need to exercise your option B. But the issue of settling, everyone settles. There's no one in the planet that's going to give you 100%. Even your Prince Charming, everyone settles, right? The goal is to get 80% or higher, B plus. If you can get a B plus on a report card, then I'm going to marry you. B plus or higher. 90%, great. But everybody has a pet peeve. Everybody has something that you just can't stand. There's stuff that your mother, we all love our mothers. There is something about our mother we can't stand, but we still give her an A plus because we love her.
Now, you know what?
So everybody settles. But the point is, it's just that when women have a right to pursue their happiness. However, so do men. And then when you get to a certain, because the thing about it is, when you get to a certain age for women, your options shrink. I mean, for every woman, and a man's options expand. So on the same token, this is where me and Courtney disagree, right? Is you travel the world, go where you want to get whatever you want, right? As a man, and you're 30 from 35 up, right? We want to exercise our Disneyfication of love, right?
No,
isn't that fair?
I disagree. And we ain't signing, me and you agree on everything, but I got to push back.
Yeah, we cool.
We the reason I push back is because you're dealing with a reality and you're dealing with a fantasy here. If a man has to pull himself up from the bootstraps, that's a reality to him. But if a woman looks at something on TV, or looks at this stuff on TV, or, oh girl, look at him, oh girl, look at Mars Chester, look how he treated Mia in The Best Man, he loved her no matter what. We can't find no man like this. They cannot separate the fantasy from the reality.
Man.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let's say Courtney, 18, let's say 16-year-old Courtney sees something on TV and say, I want a Prince Charming like that. She studies hard, she goes to Yale, right? Yale is full of Prince Charmings, old money, long money, whatever. She goes to Yale. She finds a dude there. Dad is a CEO, third generational rich, whatever. She got her guy, right?
But what's the chances of that? Seriously, come on now, we ain't. Come on, brother.
But the point, what's the chances? What's the chances of the average man rag to riches story, right? It's the same. But nobody tells that man. Nobody tells that man, no, you can't become a CEO or start your own company. The probability is the same.
We get told that all the time. Men have no error to be not living reality, because there's a consequence for us being delusional.
No days off.
Yeah.
We're always told that you got to do better, or you don't eat, or you'll starve, whatever. Men are always held to that. Like, we don't have the room for error to be in the clouds. Or, man, I'll do this, or man, you'll get stepped over.
Yep.
Let me say this too, and I want to get the two, Sir Hale and Estella, because I think even with that, when we're talking about the fantasy and reality, the reality is, if you work hard enough, you're able to overcome and get a whole lot more by working hard as a man than me wanting a Prince Charming and looking like Precious. I can't change what I look like, in order.
Yeah,
I want the man like Beyonce want the man, and we're competing for the man, but I'm gonna get overlooked because I can't physically look like
Right.
that, and what those Prince Charming men actually probably really want, or
Right.
that type of man that
Well,
I can deem as a Prince Charming.
Exactly.
well, I mean,
Eyes
So
love
I have
for me.
I have
don't look
so
like a
there's
precious.
physical hindrance when it goes to that as well too. But women were always I'm a 10, I'm a 10, like the lady earlier when I showed the video talking about she at 8 and comparable to Beyonce, but that face was swollen like a balloon.
Whoa.
Yeah, built like
It's
a
the
Glade
truth.
plug-in, and then trying to come on.
But
Wow.
most successful men marry a
That's
6.
it.
Most successful men marry a 6. Look at their wives. You can go to Forbes 100, the top 300 richest men
That's a
in
fact.
America. They're 6s.
That's a
They're
fact.
6s.
Their mistresses be bad, but the
they
wife
be-
be
yeah,
plain Jane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
they're
no. I
6s.
mean, it's keep it up because the mistresses, like we talked about before on the panel, they're for fun. They serve a purpose. The
Mhm.
person that's solid and wholesome might not be that 8 or that 9.
Exactly.
And that's usually what you see. You see the billionaire and his wife, like, damn, she ain't nothing.
Yeah, Mackenzie Scott is not a 9.
Well,
But
Bill
But she
Gates' wife
was
look like a
down
half.
though.
Yeah,
like a
Bill,
nine.
Bill Gates'
She
wife
was
like a
down.
half-turned werewolf, and she's right there at that house, loving on Bill. They divorced now, but I'm just saying, all those years she knew he had a mistress. Come on now.
And,
Yeah,
and she
majority of
allowed him to
successful
have a
men,
mistress. She
they're-
was there from day
their
one.
wives are 6s.
She was there from
Let's
pretty
get
much day
Estella
one.
and Sir Hale in if we can.
Ladies
I'm
and
about to
gentlemen,
take off, Courtney.
Okay,
Thank you for
thank you
having
so
me.
much. I'll
Boss
see you.
said-
I dropped out. All
Bye.
right, later, y'all.
Hey, Sir Hale.
my brother.
My guy.
My
What you
turn?
got?
Is it my turn?
Sure.
Okay, well, I wanted to come in on that Disney fantasy thing.
Mhm.
Canadian born, you said something about the marketing of like popular culture and media is mass marketed to women, because even when we take a step back and look back, when televisions became available in every household in America and around the world back in the like 30s and 40s and 50s, who was at home? It was women. And what were we watching? Soap operas. We were listening to soap operas, stories like that. Those type of things are intentionally marketed, like you said, in the marketplace. I'm a hairstylist. I work with women. I work with Black women. A majority, I want to just side note, a majority of the women that I work with, my age, older and younger than me, have not been proposed to. That's a big reason why we're not married. No one's proposing to us. And that's it. I don't think a 60% of women have by the age of 30s or 40s have been proposed to even. That's just not there. Give me the statistics on that. And I think I probably have better statistics on that because I work with women and I've been doing this for 15 years. And I know women who've been doing it longer. So I know women. Back to the point about Disney and fantasy being marketed directly to women, because women, we're the top consumers around the world. And Black women, and you guys can run the statistics on this, you all are very intelligent and educated men and women. But I've heard numbers. Black women, we consume a majority of things in consumption here in this country, and we supposedly make up 7% of the population of the United States. Correct me in all the nuanced stuff, that's fine. But I work in the hair industry. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You know how many Black women are at the top of these companies that are getting all these trillions of dollars? 0. How much do Black women contribute into them making all this money, into China having all this money and getting hair bought and paid for by us? We consume over 50% of it here in the United States alone. So everything you're saying about the Disney fantasy, it's purposely marketed to us and women in general, because I know white women too who buy into the fantasy because it's marketed to us for a reason, to keep us trapped in this matrix of a fantasy so that we can't face reality. So when the Kevin Samuels come along, we call him up and we want to have combative conversations with him instead of saying, damn, I don't like how he's saying it, but goddamn if he's not wrong. I mean, if he's not right. And it hurts. And then we have to go to therapy and do our work, which is it comes back. Where's the accountability? Do your work, go within, discover who you are, meditate, pray, Go lose 50 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. Become valuable in the sexual marketplace. These are the things that are being spoken about in the manosphere. These are things we're speaking about here on this platform, and I hope many more platforms. And that's why we do need to have these conversations. And it's not going to end here. We're talking about 400 years of damage that's been done to our people in particular.
Estella.
I'm glad you say that because I remember this when I was 8 years old.
Hold on, Black Dave. I'm gonna be real short. Estella, I just want to say to you directly that I am amazed about your mindset and the way you think. I am truly amazed by that. The way that you speak and the way that you realize things and things coming to you as real as they are. And you're not living.
I'm a child of Farrakhan. I'm not religious anymore, but I'm a child of Farrakhan. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, because you sound like a unicorn.
Yeah, you are more.
I'm not. I'm not a unicorn. That's the thing about it. I'm not a unicorn. There's a tribe of unicorns out here. And I really hope and pray that our brothers and our sisters begin to awaken. And this is an awakening time. But I'm not a unicorn. Many of us know these things, but we don't always know how to apply it. But so I want to. I appreciate that. Thank you. But I'm gonna let y'all finish.
You be the Morpheus in their matrix for sure.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm like that, especially at your
And I'm glad
age,
you said that because
like that.
I remember that when I was 8 years old, came back from school, 3 o'clock, General Hospital came on. When I'm about to change that channel, my mom almost killed me for that soap opera.
Lord.
So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When soap opera is on, you touch that TV and trying to change that channel for a black boy?
Yeah.
Boy.
Let's let Sir Hale speak. But I'm gonna say this real quick too. And when we look at the diverse community and women wanting white men, it's not that black men are just doing bad and they just gave up. They're seeking that Prince Charming, and they are looking at TV and how white men are treating women on TV, and they're wanting that because they're seeing black men and how they're portrayed on TV. Women do look at these things,
And they're both fake.
But I mean, look,
white men treating black women a certain way. We finding out they killing you. That's fake. So it's like, again, to be able to look at TV and understand it's entertainment. It's called a television program for a reason. It's programming.
Exactly.
It's like women need to understand. It's like you guys are smart in every other arena, but I believe that this is fake.
But who cares? If you want to date out, you want to date a white guy, go date a white guy and be great. Who cares?
But not because you see it on TV. That's the point I'm making. TV is fake. The news is fake. Stuff is propaganda. They call it a television program because it's a program. Keyword program for programming.
Yeah,
stuff is edited, stuff is shot a certain way, stuff is put out because there's an agenda. And if you believe stuff that you see, it's like, come on, man. Nobody can be that gullible. It's fake.
I want to say something to what you just said.
Go ahead, Sir Hale, you are next. Estella, go, boo.
I wanted to say to what you just said, brother above me. And the other thing I wanted to say was that to a lot of these celebrities writing books, it's marketing. They're there to make money. They're there to maintain wealth and to create their generational wealth and all those things, which is great. But we have to take that with a grain of salt because these people are entertainers. They may be telling their real life stories, but why are they doing it? To sell a book. And I've met. I live in California. I work with celebrities. I've met celebrities. That's their job. They're literally doing. They get talked about in the blogs and stuff because it makes them money. So it's fantasy as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Go ahead, Sir Hill.
And that's all I'll take him for. That's all I'll take him for. Entertainers. I don't look to them to be taught anything. I don't.
You breaking
look to them to be.
Your connection is bad. Your connection is real bad, brother.
And it's just like
your connection is bad.
Yeah.
I'm just.
All
right.
Sorry.
I hear that.
Well.
You're Borgin, bro. You're Borgin.
It's all right. Go ahead. Derek, I'm
But
gonna
it's like-
let Sir Hale speak, baby. Okay. He'll pop back up. He'll pop back up.
Hey, what's up, Courtney? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that too, brother Maya.
You know, I'm rocking with your black men unfiltered. What's up, sir?
Hey, what's going on? That's my brother from another mother going on. Boy.
Yeah, we ain't signing. What up, sir?
How are you?
Excellent. And Canadian, how are you,
Hey,
man?
my brother, I'm keeping it simple.
Good to see y'all. To the lady, to Estella, good to see y'all. To the chat, what's up, everybody? Now, I keep hearing us bring up the Disneyfication of relationships with women, and it is true. That has been mass marketed to our ladies, but fellas, we got to take some ownership in that as well. Now, let's go to the 80s and 90s music,
No,
right? Let's
don't do that now.
we help to perpetuate this pedestalization of our sisters, us wanting to have sex with the most beautiful of women. And I think a lot of the men who speak about these things, and this is just me being real, they complain about women wanting the best because they within themselves feel like they can't afford that kind of woman. And so some of the argument is not really genuine. They're not coming from a place to where, you know, they're their best, and at their best they're seeking women. A lot of these guys are reaching for people who are out of their league, and then when they get rejected, then there's a level of there's some anger there. So that's part of it. The second thing is all of us guys have at some point tried to use our money, or whether we bought a new car or our status, to get women. So it's not just the Disneyfication of this; it's how we pedestalize sex and beautiful women in our culture, and we start to realize that has backfired. When it's backfired on us, now the conversation is extended. Now we have to look at the women as well, because you know something Winnie Simon said earlier that I agree with is, why shouldn't women go for the best guy? Why shouldn't they go for the CEO? Like, why shouldn't they have that? Like, what's the real problem there? Are we saying that they shouldn't go because he's a CEO and it seems like that's just they're just being hypergamous? I think women should go for the best guy. But here's my thing. It shouldn't just be the man with the position. It should be with the man who's working to get there. That's what we got to get to. Is not going to a man who's already self-made, but going to a man who's trying to make something out of himself. And I think that's what we got to get to. So I don't believe in the whole it's just on the women, the Disneyfication of that, because a lot of us guys took our girls to go see those Disney movies, right? So it ain't just on them, it's us too.
When you learn, brother, you got to do, brother. You know, and so you're right though. Some of those songs back in the day,
Ooh yeah,
come
on, man.
Come on, man. You. I mean, you know, they did do it to us.
Down on bended knee, little boys.
Yeah, but guess what? That's marketing as well to the women, though. That's
but we
marketing
believe
as well.
it though. That's the thing. Like I can remember. I remember my mom looking at, let's say, wanting a relationship like the Cosby Show. Like she wanted the Huxtable family so bad. Me,
Everybody
I know
did.
my perfect relationship has always been my wife and kids. And I looked at
I don't like that show. They made the father look stupid. I hated that show.
I love it.
Which one? Which one?
But I looked
With Damon
at
Wayans, that was a great show.
My wife.
It was funny.
I love it.
See, the reason I hated that, they made men in that so the 90s is out. 2000 husbands and fathers are stupid. I don't like that. I don't like it at all.
You're right. Everybody hates Chris. Just think about the show. Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah, we can make decisions.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah, man, you're right.
Well, my wife and kids is one of my favorite, but I say that to say that that's women. We look at that like, man, I want a husband like him. I want a husband like that. And so that's how we build our criteria, even if it's fake, even if Damon Wayans out there smoking crack. We don't look at that.
Hold on, what?
Nothing he does.
Oh,
but
I was like,
he was in public, in private. We look at that role.
Exclusive news on I Am Courtney.
Okay, crazy. I'm like, whoa.
Exclusive news.
You said Damon Wayans is a crack addict? Did we just hear
The
that?
10 p.m.
You can't
news.
just be hollering that out. I'm like, what?
I wouldn't call him a crackhead. I'm just saying.
That's what it
Let's
sounded
just say
like.
he
The
was.
Wayans brothers is smoking crack.
Got hot in here right now.
We got
Black
King
men are supposed to give me the oh my lord.
Put up the heat.
Oh my god.
Only on I Am Courtney. Only on I Am
The
Courtney.
Wayans brothers are crackheads.
That was an exclusive. Okay. What's going on, King and Queens? How are you?
Hello there. How you doing? Thank you for having me on, and apologies for earlier on. I didn't know. I think I was looking at a stream, some stream that was a little bit behind or something like that. So thank you for having us on.
Well, thank you for
Shout
coming
out to
on.
the UK.
Yeah, yes, yeah. This place. Yeah. It's. I think you got a brilliant topic today, and it's a serious one, you know. And I think Sahel was making the point that you know, this whole thing about you know, is partly our fault as men. I don't want to misquote you, Sahel, but I think that's what you were. I think you were saying
Yeah,
something
it's
like
partly
that
on guys. Yes.
about the music. You see, my whole background's music. I've been doing that for God knows how many years. You see, here's the thing: accountability, and I think Derek said it earlier on, and he's totally correct. Accountability used to be a thing whereby a young man would go to the family, and he would ask the young lady's father, I'm interested in your daughter, right? And so so you see, the idea is that a young lady would move from being from the covering of her father to being under the covering of a husband, right? So accountability for a woman is literally one to her father and her brothers. And then this is back in the day, or at least 50, 60 years ago, if you're living in the West. And then being accountable to a husband, so covering and accountability go together. In some cultures, that still happens. So if you're living in various parts of Africa, it still happens. If you're living in various parts of Asia, that still happens. That is totally broken down pretty much if you live in the West. So that level of accountability has disappeared, right? Back in the day, it's very difficult for men to sing love songs and attract women if there's accountability going on, because fathers and brothers are simply not going to let the women in the family go to these places. It's not going to happen. It's as simple as that. So the only way you could attract a woman is if you showed how you're going to look after, how you're going to do it, how you're going to, you got to come correct. In some cultures with cows, in other cultures with money, however you're going to do it, but you got to show it. What you couldn't do is come with just a love song.
Mm.
You couldn't do that. You couldn't come with just a love song. So the price of admission has literally dropped to a love song, right? You know, and the other side of it is this. You see, in the West now, it's about in terms of females, it's voluntary accountability. You know, a woman simply, you know, whether you can volunteer to be accountable if you want to your father, and
whether she feels like it, right?
There you go. Derek spoke about it earlier on. If she doesn't want to be accountable to her dad, she just goes and does it behind his back anyway, right? And whatever happens, and then someone's got to come and mop it up, and then you know, and then it's if you say to your daughter, "I told you so," you're being mean. You're being mean, right? And that's what Kevin does. He just simply says, "I told you so." Look, what do you think was going to happen, right? And then so you got a lot of fathers that are basically seen as being mean because they simply said to their daughters, "You never told me. What do you think is going to happen?" Right? So now you see this whole thing when accountability for women breaks down as it has done in the West, right? The price of admission to get between a woman's legs is just a love song. You don't have to provide anything. You don't have to show anything. You have to do absolutely nothing. In fact, the woman when women in the West simply run from accountability. Women do not want to be accountable to husbands.
I can agree with that.
And at the end of the day, look, I say I run a men's ministry. I'm a Christian, right? And you know, what's worse, sorry, but I have to say this. When I was a kid growing up, pastors used to hold all women to account in the church that I used to go to, which is a typical sort of Caribbean church. And women ran from that. But sadly today, you got a lot of pastors modern Pentecostal churches and of a similar ilk that do not enforce accountability for various reasons. You know, and so we're and you know, I'm a Christian. We have conversations with this on my, you know, in my men's group and all that. We all the time. And you know, I give presentations on this to the women's ministry, and I don't care how they see it. It's irrelevant how they say this is to help. It's to help. It's to help women who say they want to be married. You know, you got to be accountable. You got to learn to be accountable to your husband, and you got to show an accountable spirit before you get married.
That's deep. And I like that because
I agree too.
yeah. And I think that spirit is, again, where we talk about, you know, you becoming a wife before you get married and understanding that, holding yourself accountable. So again, what I was talking to We Ain't Signing about is what's the purpose of holding yourself accountable? What does it look like and why? And that's the why. If you're not getting your desired what you're wanting, if you're wanting a husband, maybe it's you. And holding yourself accountable, understanding truth and what it is, living in that. Sir Hale, I talked about you earlier before you popped on. When we talk about, you know, the truth that set you free. And I said, when I was on your show, you know, the truth shall set you free, because when you live in lie and you live in deceit, that's bondage.